Good day, listeners. I hope to bring you an entertaining experience with this fictional story. If you like this content, please like and subscribe to this channel. Please see the description below for links to my other published works. This reading has been written and narrated by Joya Chanatry. All copyrights reserved. This selection was written for the purpose of being read on YouTube by the author. No others may use this material in any other way without written permission from the author or their subsidiaries. An eBook copy of this collection will soon be available for sale. For now, sit back and enjoy the adventure. Krakoa by Joya Chanatry. Looking behind her, Abby groaned at what had to be lurking in this forest. Then again, she was in this dark, wooded forest because her freaking car broke down, and the quickest way to find help was crossing this forested land to find the town beyond. There was little else she could do if she didn't wish to walk for days to get to the town on the other side of this forest. Taking the road there would cause her to walk for over 40 miles. Cutting across the forest would mean that she only had to walk for 2 miles, give or take. That had been her argument when she ignored the keep out sign and proceeded to make the hike. It wasn't like she had much of a choice. She could make a 2-mile hike in just a few hours. But sticking to the abandoned roadway would have meant days of walking with no food or water. This had been her only real choice, a choice she was now questioning. She heard another strange sound and decided to fashion herself a nice, sturdy walking stick. If something came at her, she would at least have a little protection. She wasn't going to be the prey. Not today. Addy looked around as she firmly grasped her walking stick and continued to make her way to the town. She was thankful that the town was easy to spot from her position on the mountain road. Now she was relying on her 2 years in the Scouts to get her there safely. She wasn't that good with a compass, but she thanked the creator of her personal water purifying bottle for including it along with a few other little gadgets she didn't think she would ever use. Taking her time and checking every few minutes that she was still on the right path, Addy continued onwards. That noise that had jostled her was gone, but it didn't reassure her that whatever made that sound wasn't still out here somewhere. All she could do now was pray that whatever it was wouldn't end up killing her. Speeding up at the idea that something dangerous could be stalking her, Addy looked to her compass again. She was still on the right path, 45 degrees north, northwest. That had been the bearings of the town before she had set off through the forest. She had to stick to that path and hope that she made it before something found her. Another half hour passed before she heard the hollow echo of what she would call a demon. She didn't actually know what a demon sounded like, but it was that sound you heard in the movies. It was eerie and sent a deep, blood-curdling chill down her spine. There was definitely something out here with her, and she was positive it was dangerous. Spinning around, trying to locate the creature didn't help her. Taking a deep breath, Addy looked to her compass and then reoriented herself. She was going to make it out of here alive, She just needed to get herself together and remember that running blind wasn't going to help her. Every manner of creature began playing through her mind as she pushed forward. She was getting out of here because she wasn't going to be the crazy person that ran in circles and got lost. Well, she had to tell herself something to keep from thinking about what animals lived and lurked in this forest. Of all the times to get a double set of flat tires, it had to be in a rental car in a strange country, when she had taken the wrong turn and gotten herself lost. Life was sucking her down the bad vibes road at warp speed. She had to get out of this and get home. She wasn't going to die in a foreign country where no one would be able to identify her body. Keeping herself motivated, she picked up her pace again. The faster she moved, the more she heard the noise behind her. What on earth could be out here that made such an eerie sound? It was unnatural. It just didn't make sense to her. Addy saw a small clearing in the trees and made a minor detour so she could sit and have a little rest. She really didn't want to rest out here right now, but she had been walking for hours and couldn't help it. What she really needed to do was empty the rocks from her shoes. Stumbling down that mountainside had kicked up some things that she hadn't noticed until she was too far in this forest to stop. Sitting under a tree, she took both her shoes and socks off to shake out everything she could. She knew she couldn't stay here long, but she just couldn't keep going like this. Her head popped up as another of those creepy howls echoed around her. It was almost like it was following her. She prayed that it wasn't as she hastily put her socks and shoes back on. She needed to get out of here. She needed to find people that could help her. Most of all, she needed to get away from whatever was making that horrible sound. Fixed up, she wished she could sit a little longer, but that demon-like sound was getting closer, and she knew she wasn't going to be able to outrun it. She gained her bearings again as she headed for that small town in the distance. Keeping her eyes moving around her, she watched for any sign that the demon that was making that sound was getting close. She stumbled through a thick, bushy area that she had decided not to go around. Damn! It seemed to be the theme of the day with her. She pushed through the wiry branches that tugged and pulled at every part of her. When her head was pulled back suddenly by one of the branches, she cried out instinctually. This wasn't working. She had to get out of here. She was encased fully into the thick of the brush when she heard that loud demon howling just behind her. Maybe it was smarter than she was. Maybe it wouldn't find her. Maybe it wouldn't track her in here. Maybe it wouldn't follow her into this tangled up mess that she had gotten herself into. Then again, most animals had more sense than people did. Reaching behind her, she was able to free her hair from the branch that was holding her in place. That didn't say much, considering that now Her arm was stuck between 6 more tiny, wiry branches, pulling and scratching at every inch of her skin. Looking ahead of her, she could see nothing but endless, thorny bushes. Looking behind her, she knew there was a way to get out of here. Only a few steps behind her was an escape from this bushy, thorny mess she was tangled in. She could take those few steps back towards that monstrous demon howl, or she could push forward into this mess that had ensnared her. Taking the worst path she knew she could, Addy pressed forward and away from that creature. Those were her only options at this point. Go back and face it, or go forward and pray she could get out of this. Another eerie howl sounded far too close, and she looked back to see something large lurking just beyond the brush. Instinct had her trying to push forward through the tangled mess, only to get stuck worse with each inch she moved forward. Addy didn't want to see what was behind her, so she tried pushing forward as hard as she could. She heard whatever it was that was behind her as it began cracking and snapping the branches as it pursued her into this thick mess. There was little she could do. She had to keep pressing forward. She couldn't be caught now. When something warm touched her back, she screamed, unable to move her head enough to look behind her. At this point, she was tangled up so bad that she couldn't move even if she wanted to. Whatever was behind her, it was going to kill her now. There was no way out of this, considering her position and how ensnared these branches held her. A warm, honeyed voice whispered next to her ear. "You shouldn't have come this way." Unsure what to think, she answered him. There's a monster chasing me." "I know. Now it's time to get you out of this mess," he answered in his thick, rich, honeyed voice. She felt the branches around her being snapped and broken as he began freeing her. "What is that thing? How do you get away from it? How did you find me and not that creature?" "It will not hurt me. Calm, little one. I will have you free soon." He purred as she felt her arm being freed from the branches that held her in place. Pulling one of the limbs at a time, she realized that he had cut a path into the brush in order to reach her. When he finally freed her, she looked back to him and nearly said the naughtiest words that had hit her mind in that moment. Of all the things to do right now, she didn't need to go down that path with this stranger. when she knew full well that they were in danger. Swallowing the lump in her throat, she muttered, "We should get out of here before it comes back. I don't know what it is, but we have to get away from it." His golden eyes locked with hers as he smiled. "I believe we will be safe, but we should go. It will take time to return." Addy realized a little too late that her mouth had fallen open as she gawked at the gorgeous man standing in front of her. Never in her life had she gawked at a man, and here she was with her mouth hanging open. She imagined the most inappropriate things. That tiny thrill coursing through her at how she could enjoy this man's company was completely indecent and interrupted by his words. "Are you able to walk?" That had her pulling her head out of the clouds as she managed a squeaky voice. I think so. Yeah, I can do it." When he stepped back, she could feel the warmth radiating off of him. The hand he still held around her waist was encouraging as he guided her. "It is a walk. Come, I will guide you to safety." All she wanted to say to that was, "No, thank you. I'd prefer to stay here wrapped in your arms." What came out of her mouth was, "Where are we going?" His bed, she hoped, but she knew that wasn't logical or anything that she could actually say, given the situation. For all she knew, he could be gay or married, which would lead him to believe she was completely crazy or desperate. She wasn't sure which at this moment. What man wanted a woman that was willing to forgo all custom and proper etiquette just to have a little fun and pleasure in her life? Addy steadied herself as she followed him out of the thicket. When they were a few steps into the heavy wooded area, she asked him again, "How did you know that thing won't come after us?" "It is gone. We're safe," he assured her as he looked her up and down. Feeling a little embarrassed, Addy remembered her manners. "Thank you. I'm not sure why I thought going through those bushes was a good idea. I should have gone around. It's just been one of those days, you know?" His voice was calm as he whispered, "Where is your family? What would draw you out to this place?" Addy stood there watching him as she admitted, "I was sent here, well, to Italy, to deliver a package. I got lost when I took a wrong turn on the autostrade. It's my first time here, and I was trying to drive myself. If that wasn't enough, I was driving down this windy mountain road only to get 2 flat tires. I looked around and saw the only help was that small town on the other side of the forest. It looked easier to go through the woods than around them." "You did not read the warnings not to enter?" He looked almost like he was going to reprimand her. Addy played the tourist card. I'm not that fluent in Italian. I can speak it better than I can read it. Where are you from? She shrugged. Pennsylvania. You know, America? American? He murmured. That had her nodding as she tried to get the heat off of her. Should we start walking? Yes. Come, I'll guide you back to your car. That had her shaking her head. That car has 2 flat tires. It won't move from where it is. If I thought it would, I wouldn't have been walking through this terrifying forest. I'm going to that little village to get some help. You do not wish to go to Krakoa. There is nothing there for an outsider like you. I will take you to your car. He looked at her like he expected her to obey him. Addy shook her head. I'm sorry, but I need some help. You know, someone that can fix 2 flat tires? Not even you can do that, unless you are carrying some tires somewhere hidden under that dress shirt that I'm not aware of. You do not wish to enter Krakoa. I will take you to your vehicle and find a suitable way to repair your ride out of here. He insisted, holding his arm out in the direction he wished her to go. Addy shook her head. Sorry, but I'm not going back to the car. You don't look like you have a cell phone that will call a tow truck, so no, I'm going to that town and getting some real help. If you enter Krakoa, you will never leave. I will assure your safety out of here, but you will not enter Krakoa. He repeated. I don't know what your problem is, but no thank you. I'm not stupid, and I'm not spending the night on the side of a mountain in a broken down car. I'm going to that town and finding a place to get a hot meal and a good night's rest before finding someone that can fix that clunker. She informed him as she looked to her compass and headed towards the town. His voice grew dark and low. You will not leave Krakoa. You will not stop me, she threw back, unafraid of his dark side. She felt his arm around her waist as he kept her from walking forward. There are dangers in Krakoa that you cannot face. So you either kill me or protect me, but I'm still going to find some help out of here. Addy insisted as she leaned back into him, letting his warm, smoky scent soak into her muddled senses. The man smelled like rum, birchwood, and fire all mixed into one sexy, panty-wetting scent that had her mind going back to that naughty place. Why did she feel like this stranger was the most attractive man on earth? He was trying to keep her from finding safety, and here she was, letting her hormonal body take her down the most sensual paths she could ever walk. His voice was soft as he whispered in her ear, You will not step into Krakoa and leave. Your only choice to escape is to run back to your car now. If you take another step, you have my word that you will be lost to the world outside. Addy didn't know how to take that. Was he threatening her? Or was he offering her a bit more than she had bitten off in this moment? That large bulge pressing into her spine told her that she wasn't the only one that felt their attraction. Just how far could sex take you in a situation like this? It wasn't like she was going to escape his grasp. He was much too large for her to fight and win. He was too sexy for her body to refuse him if he began seducing her. Maybe that bush had trapped her here, because this man seemed more dangerous than whatever that monster was that had been chasing her. I'm an American citizen, and that means you can't keep me here. They will realize that I'm missing at some point. Addy hesitated and stumbled to get the words out. No one is found in Krakoa. Tell me, do you wish to find the secret that will enslave you to this world? Or do you wish to run back to your little pathetic life out there? He teased before she felt his hot, wet lips press a soft kiss behind her ear. The sensations coursing through her had her naughty side coming out, asking the wicked question, "What are you planning to do with me?" Go back, and you will be safe and untouched. Press forward, and never will you leave my lands again. His hand wound around her stomach until he had her pressed so tight against him that she knew exactly what he was saying. If she pressed forward, he would keep her as his own prize. If she went back, she would live a life wondering how this could have ended for her. Could she live the rest of her life wondering what she had missed out on? Did she want to see what he had in store for her if she pressed him further? Reaching behind her, she could feel his hard, well-sculpted hips and couldn't hold back as she asked, "What are you going to do with me?" "If you go back, you will be safe." "And if I don't?" she tempted him. "You will be mine," he purred. Trying to stall, she teased, "You don't even know me." "Doesn't matter. You smell divine." Her mouth felt dry as she wiggled back into him. "You don't want me." "Then go back to your safe little life outside." That had her body and mind warring of what she should do. This wasn't right. She shouldn't be falling for a man that was warning her off. She should be listening to him, to her own logic, and turning around and running. She shouldn't be considering going with him right now. He softly pulled her chin around until their lips met. The tangy spiced rum tickled her taste buds as she willingly opened to him. Her body was telling her yes, take him, as her mind warned her that she should be running from him from the dangers he posed. His teasing kiss ended too fast as he purred, "Are you going to run?" She looked into his golden eyes as she shook her head. Why she wasn't running was beyond her, but a part of her told her that this was where she belonged. This was her destiny. This was what she was meant to discover and where she was meant to live her life. He slowly turned her around until they were only millimeters apart as he held her trapped in his arms. She could see a slight white smoke drifting off his lips as he smiled down to her. "You're finally home, Adelina. Now it's time to lock you here forever." Before she had time to process his delectable words, he was kissing her again. When he finally let her up for air, she was gasping. "What are you going to do with me?" "Take you, mark you, fill you, and then take you home, my queen." She didn't know where the words came from, but she had put this together. That strange monster that had been chasing her was now holding her in his arms. Whatever he was, she needed to know as she purred. "What are you?" "I will always be your dragon, Addy. No matter what time steals from us, I will always be the dragon that holds you in my heart." His fiery words had her mind spinning, almost as if she remembered some long-forgotten dream. It was the dream of him holding her like this, just before she woke up and lost him again. This time, she wanted him to stay. She wanted him to be real and not just a figment of her imagination. "I will wake up and you will be gone." She said the words, breaking her heart. His voice was reassuring as he whispered, "Not if I mark you first. Are you ready, my love? Are you ready to come home?" The idea captured her heart as she leaned up on tiptoes and kissed him again. Even if this was just another stolen moment in his arms, at least it would be a stolen moment she could treasure. This is the end for now. If you like this story or would like to hear more, then like and subscribe and leave me a comment. If there is enough interest, I will continue Addy's tale with her mystery lover. For those who read my books, please note that YouTube will not permit my normal content. The works on YouTube will be spiced down dramatically to meet with the rules of this platform. I hope to see you for my next mini love adventure. I have a series of dragon shifters just waiting to make their debut. Join me next time for another dragon adventure.